Welcome to Whiskey's a Journey. My name is Peter Fasciano. Today, it's Friday. This is my Friday Flight series. Today, I'm looking at my non-age stated scotches within my collection. Let's go ahead and jump into this with bottle number 1. Glen Scotia Victoriana. This is coming in at 54.2% ABV. The cask maturation is ex-bourbon, and it's saying that it's finished in deep charred oak casks. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, and I paid $79.47 for this off of the Whiskey Exchange. And then you add the shipping charges in there, and it's not necessarily that affordable. But that's going to be in glass number 1. Bottle number 2, Bruichladdich, the Classic Laddie. This is coming in at 50% ABV. Cask maturation on this one is ex-bourbon, and then it's got about 3 or 4 different wine cask finishes or wine cask maturation along with sherry. And I'm not sure of the others. If you're interested, just jump onto Bruichladdich website and it gives you a list of all the cask maturation. Natural color, non-chill filtered, and I paid $65.99. Let's move on to bottle number 3. Glenmorangie, A Tale of the Forest. This one is the lowest AB at 46%. I don't know if it's natural color or non-chill filtered. I'm guessing there's probably a little bit of that going on here. Cask maturation on this is ex-bourbon, and it's looking like it's also saying a refill cask. So I don't know if that's refill ex-bourbon or if it's refill casks from something else. And I paid $104 for this. That's in glass number 3. Moving on to bottle number 4. GlenDronach batch number 10, coming in at 58.6% ABV. It is matured in Oloroso and Pedro Jimenez. Just like the Tale of the Forest, I don't know if this is natural color and chill and not chill filtered. I find it very hard to believe at such a high ABV that it would be chill filtered, but I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below if you know if this is chill filtered in any way. And the price on that one is $110. That will be in my 4th glass. And then my 5th and final bottle, Aaron Sherry Cask, coming in at 55.8% ABV, natural color, non-chill filtered, and it's sherry cask. And the price on that one is $100. So that is going to be in glass number 5. All right, let me get everything cleared out of here, mix up the glasses, and get this thing going. All right, so if you are new to this series, what I've been doing is taking a selection of bourbons and scotches, putting them into a flight, going through nosing them and tasting them, and then ranking them in the order in which I like the most. And then once everything is said and done, all of the winners from all these individual flights are going to go on to the finals. And I'm going to be able to figure out, whoa, that was close. I almost thought that was going to go onto my lap. At the end of this, all of them are going to go up against the winners of the winners. Now, everything that I have in my collection, I like, and I selected these non-age stated scotches from my collection because I like these the most. If you have a non-age stated scotch that you like a lot, let me know in the comments down below if it's not in this lineup, and maybe I can take a look and see if it's in my collection. And if I don't have it, maybe I'll run out and get it and maybe do a quick review of it. All right, like always, I've got my water here. Got a pad of paper in front of me. I'm just going to be jotting down notes in the placement. I'm going to take the tops off of these and let's get into this. I think the last time I went from my right to left. This time, let's go ahead and go from my left to my right. Smell it, taste it, let you know what I think of it. And then I'm going to go back the other direction, but I'm just going to speed it up. And then when I come back, after I speed it up, I should have my rankings and we'll move on from there. All right. Just like all of the others, it smells fantastic. A little bit of a floral, waxy note. And you know what? There is a slight, I'm talking a very, very slight amount of sulfur coming through. Get a little bit of red fruits. I'm kind of leaning a little bit more towards raisins, dates. So I'm guessing this might be a sherry, kind of a sherry finished one, or sherry matured in some way. Let's get another palate. Oh yeah, that is definitely sherry. Raisins, dates, figs, and plums. The ABV is pretty high. That is exceptional. Maybe a little bit too much sherry. It's actually coming on pretty strong. The longer that it's in there, it is blossoming into a ton of sherry notes. Definitely pretty high on the malt notes as well. and it's coming across as pretty sweet. I do like it, but it might be a little bit heavy on the cask. All right, glass number 2. All right, again, I get a waxy floral note coming out of this as well. A little bit of vanilla, definitely lots of malt. This seems to be pretty aromatic. It is tending to be on the sweet side, just like this one. And just like the first one, it smells fantastic. Let's go ahead and get it on the palate. All right, that is very sweet, very malty, very fruity. A little bit of citrus, a little bit of pepper, lots of light fruits, and very floral. I like that one quite a bit as well. Doesn't come across as too high in the ABV compared to the first one, but it's still pretty good. I like it. All right, glass number 3. I get a lot of dark chocolate, tobacco, another very heavily sherried note coming out of here. Malty, chocolate, and tobacco. This is going to be very difficult. I like this a lot as well. Let's get it on the palate. Oh man, that is really good. Those have the sherry notes kind of like the first one does. And I thought this may have been a little bit over sherried. This is rounded, delicate. You definitely know there's sherry in there. And then ABV. And so this kind of comes across in a little bit of a Tootsie Roll. I get the chocolate, sugary Tootsie Roll kind of feel in there. Dominated heavily by the raisins, dates, figs, and plums. The ABV is definitely warming up the chest. I like that one quite a bit. All right, let's get on to glass number 4. This is a really good flight. This is going to be extremely difficult. This comes across as a little bit of vanilla frosting, good amount of malt. Get a little bit more of an oaky note in here, like barrel, like actual wood. Comes across as a little bit red grapey. Smells fantastic. Let's go ahead and get it on the nose. Let's go ahead and get it on the palate. I just had it on the nose. Hopefully it doesn't go up my nose. That's very delicate. That's very soft. That is well-rounded. Good sweetness, good malt. Nothing seems to be overpowering the palate. Get a little bit of peach and pineapple in there as well. A little bit lower on the ABV than this one, but not much. This is also exceptional on the taste. Oh man, this is going to be almost impossible to figure out the winner. All right, let's go on to the last one. Can I just put them all in first place? This has got chocolate notes as well. Heavy on the vanilla, heavy on the oak. Good amount of sweetness with citrus and light fruits. Get a little bit of pineapple and peach in this one as well. Let's get it on the palate. All right. A little bit more ABV. Good amounts of pepper. There's a little bit of cooking spice in this one as well. I'm not picking up very many fruit notes. I would say this is a little bit more on the spicy side than it is on the fruity side. There's a tiny bit of smokiness to this, and that could also just be the barrel and not necessarily peat. Maybe it could be char. I'm starting to build up a little bit of effervescence on the tongue. It feels a little prickly, like it's a little bit carbonated. It's got a sweet sugar candy finish to it as well. Man, again, this is really good. I don't know if you are in the camp that your scotches need to be age stated. This flight is telling me that they don't need to be. Non-age stated scotches are exceptional, at least the ones that I have in this flight or in my collection. I like it. All right, so what I'm going to do now is go back the other direction. I'm going to take some notes in front of me, cleanse my palate as I go by, see how things change going the other direction, and then hopefully after I get back, I should have an order and figure out which one's going on to the Scotch finals. All right, I am back. I think I have a pretty good order. I think the bottom two were pretty clear, and then the next three, I'm having a little bit of trouble with them, but I think I narrowed it down, and I'll give you some reasons why I put my first place in my first place. So in fifth place, coming in at last, I wrote down glass number 1 is going to be in last place. And there is a sulfur note that's coming out of here. I think it's a little bit too cask heavy. And I think that sherry note is pretty much the dominant note that's coming out of here. And it's pretty much hiding everything else. It's almost, I wouldn't want to say that it's a one note wonder, but when you boil it down to that, that's the reason why this is going to be in 5th place, is because of that sherry note is just a little bit too dominant and everything else kind of falls off to the wayside. Right next to it is going to be my 4th place. And I wrote down that this is a little bit too floral and waxy for me. And the ABV is a little bit lower than I would like. And it just comes across too floral, too waxy, too bouquet-ish. There's a really good amount of malt, and because of those different aspects of this, that's why I put it over glass number 1. It just has a little bit more to it. It's not dominated by just one individual note. But I think the floral and waxy note is just a little bit too much for my liking, and the ABV is a little bit too low. All right, coming in 3rd place is right next to it. So we're going 5, 4, 3. The 3rd place, I said that this was, again, too cask influence, too sherried influence. I am getting a lot of tobacco and chocolate in this one. I like it a lot, but when it just came down to it, I think these two were a little bit too cask forward with the sherry, and I was looking for a little bit more. Even though, like I mentioned before, this had a chocolate note to it, I also got a little bit of a Tootsie Roll chocolate note out of there. I liked it quite a bit. The figs, dates, raisins, and plums and the ABV were all really good. But in the end, I thought it was a little bit too sherried. But again, the reason why I put it over this one is because there seemed to be still a little bit more depth to it. The chocolate, the Tootsie Roll, the ABV, and the figs, dates, raisins, and plums, all of those kind of showed up instead of just the individual like raisins that are coming out of here. I picked up 0 sulfur note because typically sometimes when I do sherried whiskeys, I end up getting a little bit of a sulfur note, but there's nothing to speak of in this glass. And that's why I put it in 3rd place. Okay, coming in 2nd place, I believe this is going to come down to a mood. I can probably do this exact same flight tomorrow and get something completely different. I went back and forth between these two, and in 2nd place, I'm going to put the outside glass number 5. And the reason why I put this one there is because it came across as a little bit too spicy. I got a ginger note, I got cooking spices, there was a pepper note in here, and I believe the oak that I was getting turned a little bit bitter, and I ended up getting a little bit too much char or too much oak, and it started to dry out my tongue a little bit. So this one ended up being in 2nd place. It was very, very close to being my 1st place, and I can actually see myself reaching for this over this one at sometimes. But glass number 4 is going to take my top honors today, and this is going to be moving on to my Scotch finals. I said that this one was the most well-rounded. It gave me a deeper, I don't want to say deeper appreciation of Scotch, but I got a good amount of malt. I got some good pineapple, a slight amount of spice. The oak was there. I got red grapes in here. I didn't really necessarily get any figs, dates, raisins, or plums, but I definitely got a good amount of fruit notes. Peaches, pineapple, there's a little bit of citrus. Again, single malt scotches. This definitely came across as pretty malty. I like the ABV. It wasn't overpowering, but there was enough there just to tell me that, hey, don't forget about me. I've got ABV. And that was good. I liked it. Now let's go ahead and figure out what it is that I was drinking. In glass number 1, in 5th place, I was drinking, oh man, I cannot even read my writing, and I think I need a new prescription on my glasses. This is the Aaron Sherry Cask. Wow. Sulfur? Yeah, a little bit sulfury. That is surprising to me. I don't necessarily get that from from Aaron. I've had this quite a bit, and I don't think I ever picked up on a sulfur note. Very strange, but that's going to be in 5th place. 4th place, glass number 2. This was, okay, this makes sense. I thought this was the lowest ABV. So this is the Glenmorangie, A Tale of the Forest. In 3rd place, I was drinking, the Glendronach, batch number 10. Okay, that makes sense. Raisins, dates, figs, and plums, the Pedro Jimenez. This is definitely a very powerful cask-influenced sherry bomb. Very good. And that ABV, every once in a while, it took me by surprise, but it was good. I liked it. So in 2nd place, I had, so the Victoriana. This bottle surprises me every time I go back to it. If you ever have an opportunity to get it and taste it and get a bottle of it, I highly suggest that you do. It's fantastic. Which means 1st place is going to be the Bruichladdich, the Classic Lottie. I like this one quite a bit as well. And like I had mentioned before, these could actually flip-flop back and forth. They're both exceptionally good. But today in this flight, the Bruichladdich stood out to me as the most well-rounded. It had a little bit more depth to it. Tasting the individual components of it, the ABV wasn't too overpowering. Good amount of sweetness, good amount of malt. All of those light fruit notes are in there as well. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't know the prices on this, but I think this one is actually the least expensive in the bunch. 165. Yeah, this one I believe is going to be the least expensive of all of them. So there you go. Bruichladdich is moving on to my Scotch finals. I think the only thing left that I have to do is do a quick little blend in here. Let me get a clean Glencairn and see what this blend is like. If you have had any of these in a flight before, let me know where you would rank them. Again, if you have any other non-age stated scotches you think I should try, leave them in the comments down below. So the Victoriana, the Bruichladdich, the Glendronach, batch 10. Boy, that one is dark. A Tale of the Forest. And the Aaron Sherry Cask. I didn't check the bottom, but I think that was the order. And I think this is going to be a pretty good combination. At least that's what I'm hoping. We got floral, we got waxy, we got sherry, we got a good amount of ABV, we got some vanilla, we have light fruits, pineapples, and peaches. We got some chocolate, Tootsie Rolls, and the nose is pretty flat. All those high expectations. Yeah, this smells a little bit malty, but it lost a lot. It doesn't really necessarily smell as vibrant as these did individually. Still smells pretty good. I get a little bit more of a sherry note on here rather than a peach or pineapple note, and that's weird. As little as the sulfur note that I got in here, there is quite a bit of a sulfur note coming out of this glass. And maybe it might be a combination of sulfur and floral. All right, let's go ahead and get it on the palate. Pepper, ABV, good malt, good sweetness, a little bit drying, a little tannic on the side. Those are those sherry notes, figs, dates, and raisins. Finish is going on quite a long time. All right, we got a good amount of sweetness that is now just lingering. It's hanging around. All right, get a little bit of a Tootsie Roll note. That chocolate note's coming through. Oh, I think that's a little bit better on the palate than it was on the nose. Going back to the nose, now I'm definitely getting a lot of sherry. Comes across as pretty sweet. I do like the ABV. That's coming across pretty good. Do get a damp note to it, like the outside wet leaves, musty basement, wet cardboard. All right, let's go ahead and get it on the palate one more time and finish this video up. Yeah, trying pepper, ABV, ginger. That second sip is a little bit too bitter for my taste. I liked the initial sip, the second sip, not so much. All right, I think that's where I'm gonna leave it. Do me a favor, leave a comment down below if you've had any of these, if you've had them in a flight. Again, let me know where they ranked. Like, subscribe, share, do all those things that YouTubers ask you to do. Turn that bell notification on because I go live with videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Wherever you're at in your journey, I hope you're enjoying it. Until the next time, we'll talk to you later. Bye.